Hello students. So in this video we learn about the formation of the regional state in 18th century Bengal, therefore lead to considerable changes amongst the zamindars. The close connection between the state and bankers noticeable in Hyderabad and Awadh as well as evident in the Bengal under the rule of Ali Vardi Khan. Okay. Ali Vardi Khan, the subordinate of, you can say the next Nawab of where in Bengal. Okay, that name was Ali Vardi Khan. Earlier, who established the Bengal as a Nawab, that name is Murshid Quli Khan. Okay, yes. Then his region, the banking house of the Jagat Seth, became the extremely prosperous. So during that time, the Jamidari system and the Sahukari system, you can say, increased day by day. And when the Sirajuddaula got the ruling power, that time the Jagat Seth was the opponent of Sirajuddaula. Okay, because the earlier the main power is the in the hand of, we can say, the power of the bankers and the saukars were increased at that time. But after the Sirajuddaula time, the time of Sirajuddaula, the power and the dignity of the saukars were decreased. Okay, so now if we take a bird's eye view, we can detect three common features among the states. First, though many of the larger states were established by erstwhile Mughal nobles, they were highly suspicious of some of the administrative systems that they had inherited. In the particular, the Jagirdari system. Second, their method of tax collection differed. Rather than the relying upon the officers of the state, all three regimes contracted with revenue farms from the collection of the revenue. The practice of the Ijaredari, truly disapproved of by the Mughals, spread all over India in the 18th century. So their impact on the countryside differed considerably. The third common features in all these regional states was their emerging relationship with the rich bankers and merchants. So you can see the difference between the Mughal emperor administrations and the new states kings, we can say nizams, nawabs administrations. Okay, they connected with the sahukars and the zamindars. Earlier, the Mughal emperors, they can occupied the zamindars and the sahukars. They forced them to collect the taxes. Okay, now in this time the condition is different. The third common features in all these regional states was their emerging relationship with the rich bankers and merchants. Okay, these people lent money to revenue farmers, received land as the security, and collected taxes from these lands through their own agents. So they have their own agents and they are collected their taxes as a security. Okay, now as a security to receive the land. Okay, now throughout India, the richest merchants and bankers were gaining a stake in the new political order. Now the new political orders here, the new stakeholders. So who are they? They are the bankers. Now Watan Jagirs of the Rajputs. So one more administrative changes we can see here. Many Rajput kings, particularly those belonging to the Amer and Jodhpur, had served under the Mughals with the distinctions. In exchange, they were permitted to enjoy considerable autonomy in their Watan Jagirs. In the 18th century, these rulers now attempted to extend their control over adjacent regions, which region was not a part of Mughals. So we can say Ajit Singh, the ruler of Jodhpur, was also involved in the functional politics as the Mughal courts. The son of Man Singh, you can say. Already we know about the Akbar's marries Jodha, the daughter of Bharmal, okay, Kachwaha Naresh. So that's why they had the matrimonial relationship with the Rajputs. Okay. Now, these influential Rajput family claimed that the Subedari of the rich province of the Gujarat and Malwa. So, two big region that time we can say is called the very rich provinces. Raja Ajit Singh of the Jodhpur held the governorship of the Gujarat, and Samai Raja Jai Singh of Amer was governor of Malwa. They are also the governor of their particular region, we can say. Okay, these officers were renewed by the Emperor Jahandar Shah in 1713. They also tried to extend their territories by the seizing portion of the imperial territories neighboring their watans. They are called their watans. Okay. Nagaur was conquered and annexed to the house of Jodhpur, while Amer seized a large portion of Bundi. Savai Raja Jai Singh founded his new capital at the Jaipur, where in the Jaipur, okay, was given the Subedari of Agra in 1722. So later on they have transferred to Agra. Okay, Maratha campaign into the Rajasthan from 1740 put severe pressure on these principalities and checked the further expansions. So they also the participant to you can say spread the Mughal emperor. Okay, and many Rajput chieftains built a number of forts on the hilltops, which became the center of the power with extensive fortifications. These majestic structures, household urban centers, palaces, temples, trading centers, water harvesting structures, and the buildings, the Chittorgarh for the contained many water bodies varying from the talabs, ponds to the kundis, yeah, wells, bawlis, step wells also. Step wells, you know better, okay, just like in our Nola, in our village area, that is called the step wells. Okay, that is very you can say small one, but the step wells is very bawlis. You can see in the Bav Ki Nav in the 100 rupees note. That is also the Bav Ki Nav. Okay, in Gujarat. Okay, that is also the Bawli and Kundis wells. Okay, you will better know. Now, Samai Raja Jai Singh of Jaipur. A description of the Raja Jai Singh in the Persian accounts of 1732. Raja Jai Singh was at the highest of his power. He was the governor of Agra from 12 years and of Malwa from 5 to 6 years. He possessed a large army, artillery, and great wealth. His sway extend from the Delhi to the banks of the Narmada. So his you can say he conquered, yeah, he expanded the Mughal emperor to Delhi to banks of Narmada in the Maharashtra. Okay. Now the Jantar Mantar in the Jaipur, very famous building. Okay. Savai Raja Jai Singh, yeah, Savai Jai Singh, the ruler of Amer, constructed 5 astronomical, that is the very famous one. Okay, one is that is in Delhi, that is called Jantar Mantar. Observatories, one is in the Delhi, Jaipur, Ujjain, Mathura and Varanasi, commonly known as the Jantar Mantar. These observatories had various instruments to study heavenly bodies, means to the astronaut, yeah, we can say astrology, that the Jantar Mantar based totally on the astrology. Okay, in Khagol Vigyan we can say. So that is the main work of the Samai Jai Singh. Okay, now the seizing independence. Now what happened? Who all other states who are seizing their independence, who are protecting their independence, the organization of Sikh into a political community during the 17th century, we learn about the chapter number 8, helped in the regional state building in the Punjab. Several battles were fought by the Guru Gobind Singh against the Rajput and Mughal rulers, both before and after the institutions of the Khalsa in 1699. So which year Khalsa established? 1699. After his death in the 1708, the Khalsa rose in revolt against the Mughal authority under the Banda Bahadur leadership, declared their sovereign rule by the striking coins in the name of the Guru Nanak and Guru Gobind Singh, and established their own administration between the Satluj and the Jamuna. Jamuna, also known as the Yamuna. Banda Bahadur was captured in 1715 and executed in 1716. Banda Bahadur, he was also a brave soldier of the Sikhism. After the Guru Gobind Singh, he was also a take part in the revolt of against the whose Mughals. Okay. Now next one. Under the number of the leaders in the 18th century, the Sikh organized themselves into a number of bandas called Jatha, bands that is called Jatha. Jatha means the group of people. Okay. And later on the missiles, they are divided into the different missiles. There are 14 missiles. Okay. Their combined forces were known as the Grand Army, that is called Dal Khalsa. Dal means Samuh, yeah, you can say group. Okay, the entire body used to meet at the Amritsar at the time of the Baisakhi and Diwali to take collective decisions known as the resolutions of the Guru Matas. Okay, a system called the Rakhi was introduced, offering protection to the cultivation on the payment of the tax of the 20% of the produce. The tax was taken by the Mughals, that is called 20%. Okay. Now Guru Gobind Singh had inspired the Khalsa with the belief that their dynasty was to rule Raj Karega Khalsa. Means who will be the king? The Khalsa. Okay. And the rulers are their own. Okay. So there will neat organization enable them to put up a successful resistance to the Mughal governors, first and then to Ahmad Shah Abdali, who had seized the rich province of the Punjab and the Sarkar of the Sirhind from the Mughals. The Khalsa declared their sovereign rule by the striking their own coin again in 1765. They can issue their own coins related to Guru Nanak and Guru Gobind Singh. Okay, so now this coin bore the same inscriptions in the orders issued by the Khalsa in the time of Banda Bahadur. So same type of the coins is designed by the peoples. Which one is already in the they are taking that one. Okay, so same, the coins is same and the writing work also the same as the Banda Bahadur times. Okay. The Sikh territories in the late 18th century extended from the Indus to the Jamuna, but they were divided under the different rulers. One of them, Maharaja Ranjit Singh, reunited these groups and established his capital at Lahore in 1799. Who is established? Raja Ranjit Singh. Okay, he was the king of Lahore that time and his capital was Lahore that time. Okay. So we learn about the after the death of Baj Bahadur ya Banda Bahadur and how the Sikh organized themselves and they can started their own Raj Karega Khalsa. Okay. Now what condition of the Marathas? The Maratha kingdom was another powerful regional kingdom to arise out of the sustained opposition to the Mughal ruler Shivaji. We know about them. 1627 to 1680 craved out a stable kingdom with the support powerful warriors families, that is called Deshmukhs, groups of highly mobile peasants, pastoralists, that is called Kunbis, provide the backbone of the Maratha army. Shivaji used these forces to challenge the Mughals in the peninsula. After Shivaji's death in 1680, effective power in the Maratha state was wielded by a family of the Chitpavan Brahmins who served Shivaji's successor or Peshwa. As a Peshwa or principal minister, Pune became the capital of the Maratha kingdom. That time the Pune is the capital. Okay, Pune was the capital of. Who were the Chitpavan Brahmins? They are called Balaji Vishwanath and his son Bajirao. Okay. So we learn here the portrait of the Shivaji here. Towards the end of the 17th century, a powerful state started emerging in the Deccan under the leadership of the Shivaji, which finally led to the establishment of the Maratha states. That is called Shivaji was born to Shahaji and Jijabai at the seminary in 1630. Under the guidance of his mother and his guardian Dada Kondev, Shivaji embarked on a career of conquest at the young age. The occupation of the Jalvi made him the undisputed leader of the Malwa highlands, which paved the way for the further expansion. His exploits against the forts of the Bijapur and the Mughals made him a legendary figure. Okay, he often restored to the guerrilla warfare. ओके नॉट आमने सामने की लड़ाई ना होकर के गुरिल्ला वॉरफेयर, अचानक से हमला करना, दैट इज कॉल्ड गुरिल्ला वॉरफेयर अगेंस्ट हिज ओपोनेंट्स बाय इंट्रोड्यूसिंग एंड द एफिशिएंट administrative system supported by the revenue collection methods based on the Chauth or Sardeshmukhi. Two type of the taxes there. Okay, he laid the foundation of the strong Maratha states. Okay, and after his death, the Peshwa Bajirao re-established the Marathas, and after the third battle of we can say between the Maratha and Sikh, the Maratha power was very decreased, we can see in 1815. Okay, under the Peshwa, the Maratha developed very successful military organization. Their success lay by passing their fortified area of the Mughals, by the rising cities, and by the engaging Mughal armies in areas where their supply lines and reinforcements could be easily distributed. So they are making their own states, and the power of the states was increased that time. So we learn a little bit about the Bajirao first. Known as the Bajirao Ballal, was the son of the Peshwa Balaji Vishwanath. Balaji Vishwanath was the first Peshwa, and second Peshwa is Bajirao first, that is called Ballal also. Same. The Peshwa of Bajirao Mastani. Okay, Bajirao and Mastani. The story also a right one. Yeah, we can say the story is true. Was a great Maratha general who is created to have expanded the Maratha kingdom beyond the Vindhyas, and is known for the military campaign against the Malwa, Bundelkhand, Gujarat, and the Portuguese also, because we know 1498 the Portuguese also came there, and we talk about the after the death of Yaniki means 1680. Okay, so between 1720 and 1761 the Maratha Empire expanded. It gradually chipped away at the authority of the Mughal emperor. Malwa and Gujarat was seized from the Mughals by the 1720. By the 1730s, the Maratha king was recognized as the overlord of the entire Deccan Peninsula. He possessed the right to levy Chauth and Sardeshmukhi in the entire regions. So they are gaining, they are we can say occupying all the area, and they are taking the charge of Sardeshmukhi and Chauth as a taxes. Okay, so we can finish that one. Okay, what is the Chauth and Sardeshmukhi? So Chauth, 25% of the land revenue claimed by the Zamidars in the Deccan. This was collected by the Marathas. Chauth was directly collected by the Maratha. Now the Sardeshmukhi, 9 to 10% of the land revenue paid to the head revenue collection in the Deccan. 9 to 10%. Okay, land revenue paid to the head revenue as a head revenue. Okay, now after riding Delhi in the 1737, the frontiers of the Marathas domination expanded rapidly into Rajasthan and the Punjab in the north, into the Bengal and Odisha in the east, and into the Karnataka and the Tamil and the Telugu countries in the south. These were not formally included the Maratha Empire, but were made to pay tribute as the way of the accepting Maratha sovereignty. So they are accepting the power of the Marathas. Expansion brought enormous resources, but it came a price. These military campaigns also made other rulers hostile towards the Marathas. As a result, they were not inclined to support the Marathas during the Third Battle of Panipat in 1761. Okay, so the Third Battle of 1761 fought between the Ahmad Shah Abdali and Marathas. Alongside endless military campaign, the Maratha developed and the effective administrative system as well. Once conquest had been completed, the Maratha rule was secure. Revenue demanded was gradually introduced, taking local conditions into the accounts. Agriculture was encouraged and trade revived. This allowed the Maratha chiefs, Sardars like the Sindhia of Gwalior, Gaikwad of the Barodara, and Bhonsle of Nagpur, the resources to raise powerful armies. Maratha campaign into the Malwa in the 1720 did not challenge the growth and prosperity in the cities in the region. Ujjain expanded under the Sindhyas patronage and Indore under the Holkars. By all accounts, these cities were large and prosperous and functioned as important commercial and cultural centers. So now the Maratha divided into the five different cults, we can say. New trade routes emerged within the area of the control by the Maratha. The silk produced in the Chanderi regions now found a new outlet in the Pune, the Maratha capital. Burhanpur, which had earlier participated in the trade between the Agra and Surat, now expanded its hinterland to include the Pune and Nagpur in the south and Lucknow and Allahabad in the east. So they are called the hinterland, the mainland, okay, the main area. Okay, so now uh, so we can learn Jat in the next video. Okay.